the devil. He believed that hate was stronger than love. Some people they look around at the world and what they calculate, sum total of what they see is that hate seems to be more dominant than love. So they feel like it's stronger, and it's been around for so long. To them, they may not see that there's an end in sight, for hateful, negative people like that. He had the mentality also of a small time thief, that would like to take a risk to get the thrill, and also it made him feel more stronger and bold. Still I could see him stealing little things. I don't know if he'd take big items per se. He probably would have worked his way up to that. But at the time of his death, honestly, he didn't seem to care much for either of his parents. I didn't see love there for his parents. I saw kind of an awareness of an association. I'm connected to these people, but yeah, they're here. I don't really care much about them. He was actually distancing himself from them and trying to make himself believe that he was better than both of them. I've seen this before in children. They want to be better than their parents, and that in itself, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's when you put a negative spin on it. You know what I mean? Where you're putting someone down in your mind. It's one thing to say from a point of admiration, I admire what my parent or parents achieved and I want to achieve greater things, but that wasn't the type of mindset he had. He just had a plain negative mindset. I'm better than you. I'm going to be better than you mentally and emotionally, period. Hold on just a sec. Now, he had the type of hate that could possibly have made him a bully and fuel violent tendencies. He would look at a person approaching him like George Zimmerman, like, you're not my dad, you can't tell me what to do.
Unhealthy juice.
I'm sorry. All right, so you would look at him like, you're not my dad, you can't tell me what to do. Like, my own dad can't even make me do everything he wants, so who do you think you are? So he would disobey and rebel against something like that and actually, be moved to anger. Okay? There's another part of the reading, but I'm going to get into that in just a second. The type of things that were going through his mind, after he was shot, when he was shot, after he was shot, what happened to him, how he felt, what he thought. What I want to now talk about is how these two personality types and temperaments and emotional makeups really created the situation that it became, okay? So George Zimmerman, he called for advice on what to do. He was given advice. He chose not to follow the advice. Why? Because he was moved to anger. And once again, in his angry state, since that's part of his makeup, he ignored what was logical, which was a higher authority telling you to basically cease and desist. He wouldn't do that. I think he said something like, these punks are always getting away with stuff. They're not going to get away with this. So that was the first mistake, him going and pursuing this kid. Okay. But once that happened, my belief on knowing Trayvon's makeup is that he didn't take kindly to this. It made him angry. And he could have handled it differently. And I believe that at the time of his death, that flashed through his mind, that he could have just walked away. He could have, gave a brief explanation. He could have went easier. My belief with knowing his temperament is that at a certain point, he turned around and maybe it was a surprise and just plain attacked Zimmerman. That's just my belief from seeing what his temperament is, and his hate that he was cultivating and his disdain of authority. I could easily see him turning around and attacking Zimmerman. Now, Zimmerman is not a very bright guy. I can look in his eyes, see that his intelligence is not that great. Not to mention, he's not really built for fighting. I mean, this is my opinion. If you're going to be in the security, because I've done security, but I'm not bragging. I'm just saying I've done a lot of training in different martial arts and close combat things like that. George Zimmerman may have trained. I think I heard something about MMA, but he doesn't look like he's a skilled fighter though. Does not look like his specialty. So I could see him being overwhelmed by Trayvon Martin. And obviously he had the bumps and bruises, the scrapes and nicks to prove that he had been attacked. Back of his head bleeding. I recall them saying something about there being some evidence on the pavement too. I don't know. I heard he was getting his head bashed in, and front of his face was bloody, his nose, things like that. So I think that Trayvon turned around and hit him. Maybe after an exchange, hey man, leave me alone. I don't remember what the tape said or what. I think there was a phone conversation recorded of what he was saying, but I do believe that he probably attacked. And in that situation, being George Zimmerman, a person that spot on my nose. Yeah, I'm not gonna record this whole thing over, so we're just gonna have to keep that in there. Anyway, so you got a person that probably not the best fighter. He finds himself under attack. He has a gun. When someone else starts to get the better of you with the gun, the mentality of the person with the gun is that it puts you into fight or flight. Basically where your higher brain functions aren't working because adrenaline's pumping. You're thinking about possible death because you know that if they get that weapon from you, that you don't. It's the fear of the unexpected. Will they use the weapon on you when you're unconscious? Is he going to shoot you? Is he going to take the weapon and shoot someone else? It's just he, I believe, unnecessarily put himself in a bad situation. But once he was in that situation, in that position, he almost had no choice but to do what he did. He could not overtake Trayvon physically, obviously, and protect himself that way. And there was the risk of the gun being used against him. So once he was in that position, I felt like he had no way out. So do I feel like he was guilty? I feel like if he was to be convicted of something, it probably shouldn't have been anything more than manslaughter. He's not a cold-blooded killer. He's not the type to just go and take someone's life. Okay? His lack of remorse is because he believes with his mind and heart, for the most part, okay, that after he found himself in that situation, he did what he had to do. So that's why there's no remorse, and also I didn't see any malice, like I just wanted to kill this kid. Like I hate these type of people, like black per se. Like he didn't come across to me as just a straight up racist. Now he may not have liked young punks, getting away with whatever he felt like they were getting away with, vandalizing things or whatever it was. So anyway, that's my take on the whole case. Look forward to covering other issues. I'll be looking around for topics, things that are important to people. Celebrity readings. A friend of mine suggested possibly, celebrity of the day, something like that. Because I know people are very interested in celebrities, how they live. So they might be interested in how they think, how they feel about things, who the person truly is that you see on the screen all the time, because a lot of times you just see a persona. So same thing with politicians, so those are things that I want to eventually get to blogging about. So stay tuned. All right, till next time. Peace.